Before we get to the rest of the video we filmed during our live Cowboys Report today, news broke in the middle of it. Bones Fassel, the Cowboys special teams coach, is leaving the Dallas Cowboys. He's taking the same role with the Tennessee Titans, and don't let anyone spin zone you otherwise. This is not good. This is a very concerning sign for the Cowboys as they move forward in their current coaching search. Bones is not perfect, but he is a damn good special teams coach. There's no doubt of that. He chose to leave for a worse team. That Tennessee team stinks. There's less job security from, coming with a new coach to entering year two of Brian Callahan. I got red flags everywhere with losing Bones Fassel. I don't know if they're going to hire as their head coach. We'll get to some names here as part of the previously filmed video in a second. But this is not good at all. We'll begin today's show with the latest on Brian Schottenheimer's maybe candidacy for the Cowboys head coaching position. There's been more reports and buzz and betting odds and a whole lot more for Brian Schottenheimer to be the next Dallas Cowboys head coach. Before we break that down, give me your one-word reaction to the Schottenheimer head coaching buzz. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Couple different reports. Bobby Belt mentioning this morning that the buzz is getting louder on that front. DraftKings installed him as the new betting favorite after it had been Kellen Moore and had been Deion Sanders before that. And I will give a lot of credit to Joe Hoyt, by the way, who was early on him as a potential dark horse candidate for the Cowboys head coach. In fact, Joe had reported that he had been given 3 names. It was Kellen Moore, Robert Saleh, and also Brian Schottenheimer. So, tip of the hat there. Here's what Joe wrote over the weekend. There's also the question of how much Schottenheimer was allowed to do as an offensive play caller the past 2 seasons. As part of this is part of the reason why there's interest in Schottenheimer. There's intrigue in Dallas about what Schotty could do if he was the main play caller. I hope we all realize how insane that sounds. How crazy this is. The pitch being given, and Joe's not advocating for it, but it's the rationale behind it in part of, we want to keep some stability for the offense, blah, blah, blah. And hey, we don't know how much he did last time, so let's see what he does this time around. We don't know how good of a coach Brian Schottenheimer actually is, so let's make him the head coach and find out. What kind of pitch is this? This is a half-baked at best idea that doesn't track with me. He's a non-play caller, but hey, maybe he'd be good as the play caller. Let's make him the head coach. What? Adam Schefter reporting this today. To the best of my knowledge, he hadn't even interviewed for the job, and Dallas hadn't approached him about being the head coach. I think the Cowboys love and respect Brian Schottenheimer, and they want him there. But I don't know that that's as the head coach right now. Again, the process will unfold. We'll see what twists and turns it takes, and maybe it leads them back to Schottenheimer as a head coach candidate. Now, for me, kind of like the Deion stuff, this gets real with an interview. If you get an interview, or you have an interview with Brian Schottenheimer, okay, this all kind of gets real. Because even as crazy as the Cowboys are, I don't think they'd hire somebody without ever giving them a head coaching interview. They gave Garrett one back when they hired him, after all. I pray it does not get real. I don't like this. I don't even know how much I love Schottenheimer as the OC, which also is kind of what Nick Harris mentioned, that, hey, maybe Schottenheimer's back as the OC, regardless of who that coach is, which, again, is kind of my issue of, okay, we're picking the entire staff right now, except for the guy in charge. Why are we doing that? That's not how that's ass backwards. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know if I want him in charge of my offense, because he's had, one time, he had an offense that was top 10 in yards. Once. A couple years, he was fringe top 10 or near it, and in points where I think he did 2 or 3. As much as I don't really want to just give the job to Kellen, I don't want to just give the job to Kellen. He's been top 10 in half his career as an OC. So I don't know if I just want to let Schottenheimer run the plays and do everything, because he also will probably keep Mike Solari as the O-line coach, because it was when Schottenheimer was the OC in Seattle, Solari was his offensive line coach. So I don't really think that would change. So I don't know if I just want to, if I hire a defensive mind, if I just want to give the entire reins of the offense to Schottenheimer. I don't know if that's a great path. And also, again, we're forcing the new head coach to pick his OC. That's failed Why do we keep doing that? So hypothetically, grade the potential hire of Brian Schottenheimer. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know at the pinned comment of today's show, especially if the ad comes here on YouTube. Now, Kellen Moore does kind of sounds like is the favorite still for the Cowboys job. A lot of the local reporters, guys like John Machota, guys like Nick Harris, I think Clarence Hill still says it as well, they seem to think that Kellen Moore is the favorite to be that Cowboys head coach. And maybe all the Schottenheimer stuff is the old, let's just leak a worse name so we don't have to deal with the no Kellen Moore campaign. Maybe it's the backup plan. There's been some buzz that maybe the Cowboys don't want to do a long search because they're idiots anyway. And you can't hire Kellen right now because he's got an Eagles conference championship game and they're favored to make it to the Super Bowl. And are the Cowboys patient enough to get their guy, so to speak, and wait until early February to do it? But either way, neither are good options. Like, I don't like this plan of, shoot, we interviewed 4 people, got to pick one. How are those my only options? How are my options right now? Kellen Moore, Robert Saleh, Leslie Frazier, and Brian Schottenheimer. 2 of those guys, no one else has requested to interview. And Shotty's last interview for head coach was like 10 years ago. What are we doing? And in the end, although I do not want to give the job to Kellen Moore, straight up, I think that's a terrible process. I think I'd rather have Kellen Moore over Schottenheimer. I think it's actually, Kellen's a better offensive coordinator. I don't think Kellen's top 5 right now, but I don't think Schottenheimer's top 10. So, but again, why are those my 2 options? Why do I only have 2 apparent paths here? Why can't I do a real coaching search? I've got names that we'll get to here as part of this, but my real concern is the reason why there's only a few names is because they're trying to force the staff on this coaching staff again. Now, today's show is made possible by GameTime. GameTime has a new feature. It's called GameTime Picks. It makes getting tickets for events even easier. GameTime Picks filters out the fluff to only show you incredible deals on great seats. So you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of different tickets to find the best value. It is curation to make it easier to find better value on tickets for sports, concert, comedy, theater. Maybe don't go to a Cowboys game this year. Maybe still watch, but maybe do something else on with your money and take the wife to a theater show or something. Use the all-in price feature to see your total cost up front, so there are no surprise fees at checkout. The GameTime guarantee is this. You find tickets in the same section and row for less, GameTime will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the GameTime app, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Download GameTime today for last-minute tickets, the lowest price guaranteed. I do think that looming presence of Jason Witten could be a problem here. A lot of the theories on all this different coaching stuff are the Cowboys want to have Witten on staff to groom as a future head coach. And as it turns out, most head coach candidates don't want to take a job to in part train their replacement. That's not something most guys like to do because, that's stupid. That's not how any other organization operates. The closest you get is you hired a 75-year-old with the plan of it being 2 or 3 years and somebody along with him. Still, I don't understand how this team seemingly, I'm still on the seemingly part, is focused on making an assistant coach the priority. Of, we're going to hire somebody, but you got to hire never coached in the NFL or college, has only coached children, Jason Witten. How does that make sense? I don't care if Jason Witten's on my staff next year. I am like, oh man, we got it. No, I don't have to keep Witten. I don't need Witten. I can hire a tight ends coach. I have a good one right now. Well, I kind of want to make my own line coach, but still. Your job is to hire the best head coach right now. And the Cowboys' actions do not indicate to me that that's what they are currently doing. We are 281 subscribers away from 207,000. Hit that sub button if you haven't already, youtube.com/CowboysTV. Now, the Cowboys had the chance, to an extent, to interview more actually qualified head coach candidates. I got a couple names I'll mention, the biggest of which is, the name you can no longer interview. Ben Johnson is no longer eligible. He is taking the Chicago Bears head coaching job. So that crosses him off your list. I never really thought they were going to interview him, but so be it. Aaron Glenn, more on him in a second. Todd Monken, the Ravens OC. And if you wanted Bobby Slowick, which I didn't love what I saw last year, but he's a real candidate at least. Other teams have called about him. Those guys are all eligible to interview starting today. Now, the Cowboys are playing catch-up in the event that they wanted to interview Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn has already taken first interviews. He has in-person kind of finalist interviews set up with the Jets on Tuesday and the Saints if he gets out of the Jets building on Wednesday. So the earliest you can interview Aaron Glenn is Thursday. And I don't know if you're going to even have a chance to interview him. Because again, your process sucked so bad at the beginning, you're playing catch-up and you're very much behind the eight ball in this whole damn thing. Now, I am open to a lot of different names to interview because I want to do a real search, and the Cowboys not done one so far. So name a coach who you want to interview. Let me know in the comments section in today's video. Now, these 4 names have been eligible if you wanted to. Brian Flores. Cowboys have had a week plus to interview him. It's like they're just not going to. Pete Carroll might end up getting the Raiders job with them missing out on Ben Johnson. But again, like, if you're going to force someone to hire Witten, I guess just run it back in Dallas with Pete Carroll, Brian Schottenheimer as your head coach OC. It's not overly appealing, but I'd rather have Pete Carroll as my head coach than Brian Schottenheimer. Call me crazy on that front. Doug Peterson, I don't want to do that one, but always gets linked. John Gruden, kind of something similar. Steve Spagnuolo, Cliff Kingsbury, Joe Brady are all not yet eligible, so you have to wait if you even wanted to interview those guys. My issue remains this. The Cowboys have a head coaching opening. I don't think it's the most coveted job opening. I don't think it's the least coveted job opening. The fact that you're not even trying to interview this pool of candidates, it just continues to make it look like an unserious organization.